Hi everyone, I'm pleased to announce a new module for Bluetrait. This module lets you build custom forms. It can be useful for onboarding new employees at your customer sites and lets you create a custom form that your customers can fill out. You can also use it for internal information you want to capture as well. This module is available on the professional plan only, and I'm going to give you a bit of a demo of it today. So the first thing to do to enable it is to go into Settings, Modules, and just enable Forms. After that's been enabled, in Settings you will have a new setting called Forms. So here you can create as many forms as you like. You can also have internal forms that require permissions, and you can also have a guest accessible form for a user to submit it without logging in. So to create a form, click Add, and we can go New User. The system name is what's used in the URL, so it just needs to be, it's just got more strict, so just use a 0 to 9, A to Z character without any spacing or anything like that. I'm going to enable the form, and in this case I'm going to turn the guest on, and then you just need to pick an icon here, and that's what the icon will be when it shows up on the sidebar. So then we hit save. So now once we've saved, we've got a few options. So when a new user posts to the form, you can make it generate a ticket, and that ticket will link back to that specific request. You can set the priority and the department. You can also make it send you an email. So I'll just turn that on. So now let's set up a couple of custom fields. So we go add. So we call username with a text input. And then let's create another one called requires new computer. Yes, we've got a few options here. You can have a text input, which is a single line of text, a text area, which is a WYSIWYG, a drop down, which I'm going to use here. So we're going to go yes or no. You can also add a time and date. Let's do that. And then let's also add a start date and put in date. And that's all there. Now, whenever you create a new form, it actually creates a range of permissions in the system. So you can choose who can access the form internally as well. So you can see here, I don't actually have access to the new user form. Oh, sorry, admins always get access to it, but users, you need to set up permissions. So I'll show you that next. So you go into settings and permissions. If you go into a permission group, you'll see here, if we go into forms, it has generated these new permissions. So I'm going to create a new permission group called manage new user form. Let's add that. And then I'll go down to the forms. And so we've got a few here. The manage forms permission gives the user access to all permissions. This is what the admin gets by default. You can then give manage to just that specific form that's been created, the new user form, or you can do specific permissions. So you can say, for example, they can access it, which lets them create entries. You can make it so that they can view all of them, delete their own submitted ones, or edit their own ones. So you've got some flexibility, and every new form you create, it will generate these new permissions. In this case, I'm just going to add them all over into that group. And then all you need to do is assign that permission to the user. So if you log in to, if you go to your user and go edit, you can add that permission here. And now that user will have access to that form. So you can give that to external users, for example. So now if I go into new user, you can go add, and you'll see here we've got the form. So, example, requires a new computer, yes, and they're going to start in 2 weeks. And you go add, and now the form has been created. And if I go back, you can see a entry has been created for that form. You can obviously then go in and edit the form and delete it. And you can see here that a new ticket has been created with a link to that form. So if you have a customer that has a new user sign up form that you've created and you want to get an alert that happens, you can simply turn on the ticket creation and it will create a ticket when that new user form comes in. If we go down to forms, we also have guest mode. So guest mode lets you, so if I copy this URL and sign out, you can see here, I can add on this page and it will submit the form and no sign-in is required and you can't see anything else. So that's useful to have external forms, and you can see here that I have created that. So that's just a quick look at forms. We hope you find that useful. We've got a few more features in the works for it, but it lets you build forms for you to store data in Bluetrait. Thanks very much.